Let's be real for a moment. One of the hardest battles you'll ever fight is the pressure to live up to everyone else's expectations. This pressure can come at a very early stage of life from various sources, such as family, friends, society, or even social media, which often creates an overwhelming feeling of inadequacy. From the time you're young, people tell you who you should be, what you should do, how fast you should move, and what success is supposed to look like. It's a struggle that can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and ultimately a crisis of faith. And if you're not careful, you can spend your entire life trying to please people while slowly drifting away from the purpose God designed just for you. But Jesus Christ didn't call you to live for approval. He called you to live for a purpose. Be brave enough to live the life God has called you to live, not the life others are comfortable watching you live. God created you on purpose and for a purpose, and that purpose cannot be fulfilled by impersonating someone else's path. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Your life didn't start with other people's opinions. It started with God's intention. Life is too short to waste your time on people who don't respect, appreciate, or value you. Jesus Christ never chased validation from crowds. When people misunderstood him, rejected him, or walked away, he stayed anchored in his calling. John chapter 6 verse 66 says, "From this time many of his disciples turned back and no longer followed him." Jesus didn't compromise his purpose to keep people comfortable, and neither should you. The truth is, if you let other people tell you who you are, you end up living their reality instead of the life God has planned for you. That's a heavy burden to carry. God never asked you to be a copy. He asked you to be obedient. Galatians chapter 1 verse 10 says, "If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." You cannot fully serve Jesus Christ while being controlled by the fear of people's opinions. There is more to life than pleasing people. There is more to life than following someone else's journey. God's plan for you is bigger than what you can see right now, and it often requires courage to walk away from expectations that don't align with His will. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 25 says, "Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe." Approval can trap you, but trust in God will free you. At some point, you have to decide who you are for yourself through Christ. You don't become whole by fitting into everyone else's expectations, beliefs, or standards set by those around you. You become whole by aligning your life with God's truth. This alignment empowers you to embrace your unique purpose, allowing you to live with integrity and conviction, rooted in faith and guided by God's principles. In doing so, you not only find your true self, but also develop a deeper, more meaningful connection with God. Adventure doesn't always mean changing locations. It often means changing direction. Even if you can't change all the people around you, you can change the people you choose to walk closely with. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 33 says, "Bad company corrupts good character." The people you surround yourself with will either support your faith in Christ or slowly shrink it. Life is too short to stay tied to the wrong people who consistently evoke feelings of anger, regret, worry, and grudges. Those things drain your joy and distract you from God's purpose. Jesus Christ calls you to freedom, not emotional bondage. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 31 says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice." Letting go isn't weakness, it's obedience. Spend your life with people who help you laugh again, who remind you of God's goodness, and who make space for you to grow. God often uses the right relationships to confirm His direction. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 9 says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor." God never intended for you to walk your calling alone, but He also never intended for you to drag people who don't honor it. Do what matters most to you, the things God placed in your heart. Don't let the expectations of others limit who you are becoming in Christ. The world may not understand your obedience, but heaven celebrates it. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Transformation begins when you stop conforming. Life is too short to be unhappy living someone else's dream. You only get one life, and Jesus Christ invites you to live it fully, freely, and faithfully. When you choose God's purpose over people's approval, you may lose some voices, but you gain peace, clarity, and alignment with Jesus Christ, embracing his teachings and example as your guiding light. In this alignment, you not only strengthen your faith but also develop resilience against worldly distractions, ensuring that your actions resonate with your calling. Be brave enough to fully embrace the unique purpose that God has set before you. Release the heavy burden of trying to be understood and accepted by everyone around you. Remember, Jesus Christ sees you for who you truly are. He understands your struggles, calls you to a higher mission, and walks alongside you every step of the way. Choose the vibrant freedom that comes from faith over the paralyzing fear of rejection. Opt for the meaningful pursuit of purpose instead of yielding to societal pressures that distract you from your true calling. And prioritize steadfast obedience to God's will over seeking the fleeting approval of others. Life is too precious and ephemeral to live in any manner that dilutes your divine potential. Trust that God has incredible plans and opportunities waiting for you just beyond today's challenges. Embrace this journey with courage, for there is so much more ahead than you can imagine. You were created for greatness. Step into that truth and watch how beautifully your life unfolds in the presence of God.